yet." His tone was steady, his words stiff. "But I assure you everything will be all right. Try to be patient." My father pulled his hand away from my face, and my eyelids met again, shutting me behind a screen of black. He stayed. I knew because I could hear his breathing, just not my own. As last days go, mine sucked. The last day I would have chosen, the last day I deserved, would have involved more chocolate, significantly more. Dark, milk, white, bittersweet, olive-infused, caramel-filled, truffle, ganache. There would have been cheese, too, the soft, runny kind that stinks up a room as it dribbles down your throat. I would have lay in bed all day, eating the food I can no longer eat, listening to the music I no longer care to hear, feeling the scratchy cotton of the sheets, the pillowcase, at first cool to the touch, warmth slowly blooming against my cheek, stale air hissing out of the vent, sweeping my bangs across my forehead, and Walker, because if I had known, I would have made him come over. I would have said, "Screw my parents, forget my sister, just be here with me today." I would have felt the downy hair on his arms and the scratchy bristles sprouting on his chin, which, despite my instructions, he was still too lazy to shave more than once a week. I would have felt his fingertips on my skin, a ticklish graze so light that, for all that it promised and refused to deliver, it almost hurt. I would have tasted peppermint on his lips and known it meant he'd elected gum over toothpaste that morning. I would have made him dig his stubby nails into my skin, not only because I didn't want him to let go, but because, along with one last real pleasure, I would have wanted one last pain. This can't be happening. Not to me. I lay there. I tried to be patient, as my father had asked. I waited to wake up. Yeah, I know. Total cliché. This must be a dream. You tell yourself that, and maybe you even pinch yourself, even though you know it's cheesy, that the mere act proves it's not a dream. In a dream, you never question reality. In a dream, people vanish, buildings appear, scenes shift, you fly, you fall. It all makes perfect sense. You only reject weirdness when you're awake. So I waited to wake up. Big shock. I didn't. Stage 1, denial. Check. I learned the 5 stages of grief when my grandfather died. Not that I passed through them. Not that I grieved, not really. Not for some guy I'd only met twice, who my father seemed to loathe, and my mother, the dead man's only daughter, claimed to barely remember. She cried anyway, and my father put up with it, for a few days at least. We all did. He brought her flowers. I didn't roll my eyes, not even when she knocked over her glass at dinner for the 3rd time in a row, with that same annoying, "Aren't I clumsy?" giggle. And Zoe pumped the network and dug up the 5 stages of grief. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Since I was dead, or worse than dead, buried alive in a body that might as well be a coffin, except it denied me the pleasure of suffocation, I figured I should be allowed to grieve. No, not grieve. That wasn't the right word. Rage. I hated everyone, everything. The car for crashing, my body for burning, for breaking, Zoe for sending me in her place, for living, breathing, partying somewhere beyond the darkness, in a body that worked. I hated Walker for forgetting me, like I knew he would. For the girls he would date and the girls he would screw and the girl he would curl up with in his bed, his arms closing around her, his lips whispering promises about how she was the only one. I hated the doctors who marched in and out, prying my eyes open, blinding me with their pen-sized lights, squinting, staring, waiting for some kind of reaction I couldn't give them, all while I was screaming in my head, "I'm awake, I'm alive, hear me, help me!" And then the lids would shut me into the black again. My father stayed by my side, the only one to speak to me, an unending monotonic litany. "Be patient, Leah. Try to wake up, Leah. Try to move, Leah. It will be okay, Leah. Work at it, Leah. You'll be okay." I wanted to believe him, because I had always believed him. I wanted to believe